Now let's talk about the pathogenesis of the primary myelofibrosis. All right, since it is a primary disorder and we have seen in the primary in the polycythemia vera and the essential thrombocytosis, majorly the receptors, the JAK2 receptors are the ones that are at fault. So there are three major ways in which the primary myelofibrosis can be present. Three major ways which cover about the 90 to 95% of the etiology of myelofibrosis. Either it is a mutation in the JAK2 tyrosine kinase receptor which activates it on its own. You know that JAK2 receptor is a tyrosine kinase receptor, and when it is activated, it activates STAT molecules, the JAK-STAT pathway. And those STAT molecules then move inside the nucleus and cause differentiation of the cells. And this differentiation is generally can affect all the types of cell lineages, but one type of the cell is majorly affected. For example, if it affects the myelocytes, then as we know, or if it affects the erythrocytes, then those erythrocytes are destined to become the RBCs, and they will be the ones which are mostly commonly affected. But it can also, on a smaller scale, involve all the other cell lineages. That's why in most of the myeloproliferative disorders, almost all the cell lineages are increased. Just as we saw in the polycythemia vera, we have an increase in the RBC count, which is evident by the increase in the hemoglobin concentration, and there is also an increase in the WBCs and the platelet disorder. Similarly, in essential thrombocythemia or the essential thrombocytosis, we have a marked increase in the platelets, but there is also some increase in the WBCs and the red blood cells count. So the JAK2 tyrosine kinase receptor mutation is the most common one. Along with that, there is either a mutation of the thrombopoietin receptor, which is basically a receptor for the thrombopoietin molecule, and this activates causes the differentiation of the megakaryocytes to become the platelets. And another postulated pathway is the CALR gene formation, or the CALR gene pathway, which also controls various steps in the differentiation of the cells. So any mutation in either of these receptors can basically lead to a megakaryocyte weighted clonal myeloproliferation, or basically there is a proliferation of the atypical megakaryocytes. The megakaryocytes, as you know, basically become the platelets. So if there is some atypical production of the megakaryocytes, then these atypical cells, just as by performing their normal function, which is the production of the platelets, they also lead to the basically increased release of various types of fibrogenic growth factors. These types of various fibrogenic growth factors, like the TGF-alpha or certain other types, they can cause increased collagen production or increased fibrosis production in the bone marrow. So along with an increase in the platelet concentration, there will be an increase in the fibrogenesis. So this stage 1 eventually leads to the stage 2, which is the reactive bone marrow stromal changes. These reactive bone marrow stromal changes are in reaction to the various growth factors which are being produced by the atypical megakaryocytes. And this eventually leads to the formation of fibrosis in the bone marrow, and eventually we have a fibrotic picture in the end. And this eventually leads to stage 3, the fibrotic picture. The bone marrow, when it is fibrosed, it is not able to do its job, which is the production of the blood cells. And so to compensate for this loss and to basically make up for the requirements of the body, the bone marrow, the hematopoiesis generally shifts to the extramedullary space outside of the bone marrow, and that leads to the formation of splenomegaly or the hepatomegaly in the long term, and all the sequelae which are basically related to all these disorders. The splenomegaly can cause problems on its own, and it can also cause various types of abnormalities, which we are going to see in the clinical features and the complications going forward. So this is the major postulated pathway. The JAK2 tyrosine kinase receptor or the thrombopoietin receptor mutation leading to differentiation of the cells on its own, leading to increased production of platelets, RBCs, or the various types of WBCs. And also along with that, those atypical megakaryocytes release certain types of fibrogenic growth factors, which lead to the formation of fibrosis in the bone marrow, eventually covering it completely by fibrotic tissue. And when that happens, the bone marrow shifts the hematopoiesis to an extramedullary space. These three steps go side by side to cause this problem.